Sure. You'll be able to share your screen now. Hare Krishna,
Yes.
dear Vaishnavas. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining. Today is a very, very auspicious day. It is Vaman Dwadashi. And we have His Grace Vamsi Prabhu, who will be speaking about the glories of Lord Vaman Dev. Some of you may already know Vamsi Prabhu, but for my purification and for Krishna's happiness, because Krishna loves to see his devotees being glorified. I happen to know Prabhuji for last almost 6 years now. In 2015, when I came to United States and for my master's in Rochester, New York, that's where I met wonderful Vishwanath Prabhu. At that time, his name was Vishwanath Prabhu, Vishwakenath, who was also a name of Krishna, which is also a name of Krishna. And then he, by sincerity and eagerness to practice Krishna consciousness, continued to grow every day with every passing, day. Continued to grow, continued to render so many services. He had to move to Buffalo. Now, Buffalo is about an hour from Rochester, and it's not easy to drive in the winters of Rochester and Buffalo, which are like one of the coldest places in the United States. So, but he would come. He would come so sincerely for every program in Rochester, driving an hour one way from Buffalo in the peak winter also. Certainly not easy. I was so inspired by his sincerity. Then he had to move to Albany, and very shortly I moved to Florida. And then he moved to Memphis, Tennessee. This is a cycle of moving going on. But one thing which kept us connected was this Bhagavatam group. So for those who don't know, Vamsi Prabhu is the one who posts the daily summary and daily questionnaire, and very, very sincere devotee with his good wife and two wonderful children. They are living currently in Memphis, Tennessee. He's a very wonderful disciple of His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. And last year when Manjulali got initiation, so that was a time we were all together, and it was so happy to get united physically again after a long time. So without much delay, Prabhuji will be speaking about the glories of Lord Vaman Dev on this special occasion of Vamana Dwadashi. So thank you so much, Prabhuji. Please, you may continue now.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. I don't deserve such a wonderful introduction. I'm the least qualified here, but just to serve you, my Shiksha Guru, I was able to prepare something so that hopefully it will benefit everyone, whoever prepares, whoever speaks, and whoever listens. So let's go into this wonderful pastime of Vamana Dev. And one more thing I want to say is when Vilas Prabhuji told me on Thursday that there is this opportunity to serve, it came as if it is coming from Kṛṣṇa, because I have a small sangha with Bhakti Viksha kids, and we prepare, and we were talking about the 12 Mahajans. And actually the topic for this week is Bali Maharaj, because he's one of the Mahajans. And coincidentally, Prabhuji also called and said to glorify Vamana Dev. And we know that we cannot separate both the Lord and his best devotee. So I feel very fortunate. And one more reason that I'm very fortunate is since I'm coming from Kerala, I was born and raised in Kerala, there's a festival called Onam. And the festival is all about Bali Maharaj. The legend behind the festival is Bali Maharaj is coming back from the Sutala Loka to visit his citizens, and everybody glorifies Bali Maharaj during this time. So I don't know, somehow by the divine coincidence, all of these came together so that I could delve a little deeper into this pastime and understand it. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, and we'll get started. First, we'll do Mangalacharan. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Patakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrachatam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostude Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sude Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpitarupascha Kripa Sindhupye Vacha Patitanam Pavanepyo Vaishnavepyo Namo Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupataya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pastatya Desha Dharine. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Thank you very much. So
Hare Krishna. Can you do full screen, Prabhu?
yes, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Okay. So we have read from Bhagavad Gita 4.9, Janma Karma Chame Divyam Evam Yoveti Tattvaha Tektva Devam Punarjanma Naiti Mameti. So Arjuna. So whenever we glorify the birth pastime of the Lord, everything becomes perfect and we become eligible to go back home, back to Godhead. And this is also mentioned in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam after the whole pastime of Vamana Dev and Bali Maharaj in chapter 23, canto 8. There is this verse, and usually the Falshruti comes after the pastime. But in Kali Yuga, we always want to know why we are doing this. The why comes before what or how we have to do it. So let's read this verse and the translation so that it'll motivate us to hear this pastime. Kriyamane karmani dam daive pitraye tamanushe yatra yatra nukirtaye tatat tesham sukritam vidhu. Translation. Whenever the activities of Vamanadev are described in the course of a ritualistic ceremony, whether the ceremony be performed to please the demigods, to please one's forefathers in Pitraloka, or to celebrate a social event like a marriage, that ceremony should be understood to be extremely auspicious. So we know Vamanadev is the fifth among the Dashavatars of the Lord. And so if you look at the bottom left of your screen, there is the Matsya avatar, then there's a Kurma avatar, then Varahadev, then Narasimhadev. We are currently covered in the 7th canto where we are in. And then the Vamanadev pastimes come in the 8th canto. So we will be covering that soon when Vilas Prabhuji leads us. And so this would be a good introduction to this wonderful pastime of the Lord coming in as a dwarf incarnation or Vamanadev. And then there is so there are 10 such incarnation the Lord takes, and it's all covered here. So let's delve deeper into this pastime. So this whole pastime starts, if we want to connect it in terms of the time frame, after Samudra Manthan Leela, there is the churning of the milk ocean, and both the Asuras and the Devas are coming together for this pastime, and they get the nectar. And finally, Mohini Murti comes and takes the nectar away from the Asuras and gives it to the Devas, and they are able to have the nectar, and they get a lot of they get their opulence back, all the auspiciousness that was lost because of certain acts by Indra, who humiliated Durvasa Muni. He got a curse. So all that happened before this, and currently the time is the demons are fully destroyed by the Devas because of this nectar or Amrit that they had when the Asuras came to fight the Devas. The Asuras are headed by Bali Maharaj, and they are actually completely destroyed. And even Bali Maharaj, it's apparent that he left his body. So in that state, they were totally decimated. And then actually the body of Bali Maharaj is brought to Shukracharya, and he does the Mrida Sanjeevani mantra and revives him and the other Asuras who had passed away. So they all come back to life, and then the Bali Maharaj then takes Shukracharya as a spiritual master at that point. So again, we see that one is choosing the spiritual master based on a bodily good. So he becomes the spiritual master. He is so fully surrendered to Shukracharya, and Shukracharya also is slightly materially motivated, that he wants the Asuras to become the leaders of the world. Currently, they are fully destroyed, and the Devas, the mode of goodness is superior. But then Shukracharya and Bali Maharaj, they want to become the leaders of the world. They want the mode of ignorance and passion to take over. So they are they want to do that by having a big yagya. So Shukracharya sets up a Vishwajit yagya, and and Bali Maharaj, he is already a great person coming in the lineage of Prahlad Maharaj. So Prahlad Maharaj, we already know what an exalted devotee he is. He's Bhakta Shiromani, and his son is Virochana, and Virochana's son is Bali Maharaj. So he's coming in a great lineage of devotees. So Bali Maharaj, even though he hasn't reached that stage of Mahajan yet at this point of our story, he still has the Bhakti Lata beach in him, and he is a great devotee of the Lord. So he serves all the Brahmanas so well, the descendants of Bhrigu. He serves Shukracharya so well, and because of that serving the Brahmanas, he gets a lot of accolades and protection. So that brings us to our first lesson for today, which is associating and serving devotees gives one great power. So with all this devotional service that he did, he gets a lot of spiritual and material power. And at this point, the Asuras have so much strength. And as soon as this Vishwajit Yagya is coming to a close, out of the fire comes, 2 arrows, a quiver of arrows, a bow, all this big great army starts coming out, and then the Shukracharya himself gives a conch shell to Bali Maharaj. And as soon as he receives this armor and all this paraphernalia, we see that Prahlad Maharaj, the great devotee of the Lord, he also comes to bless his grandson in his endeavor, and he gives a garland on Bali Maharaj. And getting the blessings of all these great devotees, he's ready to go fight Indra, who had initially really destroyed the Asuras. So this picture that you see is when Bali Maharaj is coming to the heavenly planets and actually to Indraloka. And the person who is all afraid on the right is actually Indra. He is really afraid, seeing the great army and seeing Bali Maharaj blowing the conch shell that he got from his spiritual master with the golden horses and the very powerful army. He becomes very afraid and doubtful. What is happening? I just destroyed all these guys and they're coming back with even more enthusiasm. So he goes and asks his spiritual master Brahaspati, and Brahaspati says, at this point, the mode of ignorance and passion has taken over. There is no chance for you to win. And so Indra asks, how is that possible? And he says that Bali Maharaj has been very respectful of his elders, as well as the great Vaishnavas and Brahmanas. So he has all the power, and you are going to be defeated if you fight him. So the best thing you can do is to drop everything and run from your abode. So we know that how Indra sometimes is taken over, puffed up by his position, and he sometimes forgets to respect his elders or respect Brahmanas. We already read some of these pastimes in our reading in the Vritrasura pastime, etc. So this is a lesson for Indra also, that he has to respect Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, otherwise this is going to happen. So the Devas lost everything because they didn't even fight, seeing the power of Bali Maharaj. They just ran away. So now at this point, the Devas have become vagabonds, and they're not even doing their actual service of being devatas and being demigods and getting the sacrifices and helping the jivas with the mode of goodness. They can't even do anything because Bali Maharaj has got all this opulence. He is now the world leader of the universe. He is the Samrat. And then he also, being the Chakravarti Samrat, he wanted to maintain this position. So what he does is he and Shukracharya, the demon's guru, they both get together and they start doing some Ashwamedha Yajna, about 100 Ashwamedha Yajna they want to do to maintain this position. So we know when you get a lot of material opulence, then the fear comes that how am I going to maintain this opulence? So that is what Bali Maharaj started doing, these yajna to maintain this position of the all three worlds, the material universe. So at this time, so just to make it a little interactive, anybody knows who is the mother of the Devas? Anybody like to attempt? So usually,
Aditi.
yes.
Aditi.
Thank you, Mataji. Very nice. Yes. So Aditi is the mother of the Adityas, or the Devas. And she is very sad at this point because her sons have become such useless people, just roaming around like vagabonds, not doing their work. And they're totally taken over by this great Bali Maharaj. So she is very sad and morose. And she wants to ask her husband So anybody knows who the husband of Aditi is?
Kashyap.
Yes, Haribol, very nice, Mataji. Kashyapa Muni is the husband, and he is in a great penance, and then he comes back and he sees his wife is very sad, and he asks him, what is the reason? Did you not do any religious rituals properly? What is making you this sad? And then she mentions about her kids being being usurped by the asuras, and she says she wants them back. Now we should look at Kashyapa Muni. The asuras are also his sons, and anybody knows the mother, who is the wife of Kashyapa, who is the mother of all the demons, or the asuras? Yes, very
Diti.
nice. Haribol. Yes, Diti. So Kashyapa Muni has to now choose who should he side with. And that's not a easy one for a father to choose, but being in the mode of goodness and Aditi being a great devotee of the Lord, Kashyapa Muni then tells Aditi what she has to do. Like Suniti had instructed Dhruva Maharaj to go to the forest, and the only shelter and the only hope is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and nobody else can help in such a situation. So that's one of the second lessons for today is even if you have a material desire, always approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Kṛṣṇa. So exactly that's what Kashyapa Muni said. You have to really worship the Lord and get in his favor to continue to get a solution to this problem. So Aditi follows everything that her husband tells her. Kashyapa Muni tells her to take a vrita called Payovrita. And Payovrita is just a 12-day vrita. And I was thinking, wow, 12 days, if I do this, I can see the Lord. And I was also hearing this in a lecture. But actually, it's not that easy. Payovrita is drinking milk, only milk, all these 12 days. So I thought that is the easy part. Maybe we can try that. But then there comes all the rituals and the things connected to it. So all the austerities she had to do. So within 12 days, she followed everything so well, the Payovrita with drinking milk as well as following the rituals and the chanting. And the Lord came in front of her, the 4 Chaturpuja form with the beautiful picture actually shows the Shankh Chakra, Geda Padma form of the Lord. And he comes and says, what do you want, O Aditi? And here we see that there's some Karma Mishra Bhakti in Aditi, because anybody who sees the form of the Lord, usually they forget their material needs, like Dhruva Maharaj. But Aditi is still wanting her sons to become the kings again. So the Lord actually says, you know what, I will come as your son. And there is a history on Aditi as well. So Aditi and Kashyapa Muni, they were Prishni and Sutapa in a previous life, and they had took penance for 12,000 years, and the Lord had come in front of them and said, actually, he said Tatastu 3 times. So he said, so actually he would come as their son 3 times in different incarnations. And first, he came as Prishni Barhi, and then he actually comes as Vamana Dev that we are just going to see. And the third actually is our own Lord Kṛṣṇa. he comes as the son of Devaki and Vasudeva, and Devaki and Vasudeva is none other than Kashyapa Muni and Aditi in the previous life. So the Lord comes and says, I'm going to come and as your son, and he'll be named Upendra because he's the younger brother of Indra. So Up means sub, so like you say collector, sub-collector, so he's Upendra. So the Lord actually is born to, so he appears and then he says, keep this confidential, I'm going to come as your son to take care of everything. So one thing I heard from another lecture from Amarendra Prabhu that he heard from Mahendra Prabhu is this wonderful comparison of the Lord, our Kṛṣṇa being born to Mother Devaki and Vasudeva, and how the Lord is born to Diti and Kashyapa Muni. So there are a lot of similarities, and we see both Devaki and Aditi are both sad, because Devaki is sad because 6 of her sons have been killed by Kamsa, and here we see that Bali Maharaj has really usurped her sons in the case of Aditi. So in a sad situation, the Lord is coming. Another one is the Lord comes in his 4-handed form, even when the Lord incarnates himself in this material world. He comes, shows this form to Devaki and Vasudeva. Similarly, here also, he's coming as a 4-handed form. And the one thing that I got that I didn't know is the Lord actually doesn't directly enter the womb of Devaki or Aditi. He actually first enters the mind of Vasudeva. And in this case, he entered the mind of Kashyapa Muni, and Kashyapa Muni understands that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is coming as my son. And then from the mind of Kashyapa Muni, he enters the womb of Aditi. And in the case of Kṛṣṇa's inconceivable birth also, he enters the womb of Devaki, and he's born. So the next slide. This is showing the wonderful form of Vamana Dev. He's born, as soon as he's born, he takes the form of a dwarf. So dwarf is, we know, who don't grow tall, so very short. And hence the name Vamana, which means dwarf. So yeah, he takes that form. So actually, the day he's born, there's a birthday ceremony, and then he, in the Bhagavatam, it said that like a theater, the Lord grows immediately into the dwarf form, and so then all the Brahmana ceremony is also done for the Lord, and actually the sun god himself comes and chants the Gayatri mantra and officiates that Brahmanical ceremony. And then Brahaspati comes and gives him the sacred thread. And we can see all this in this picture. It's a beautiful meditation that we can have on this very auspicious day of Vamana Dwadashi, about this form of the wonderful form of the Lord, and very effulgent. And then Kashyapa Muni gives him a straw belt, since he's a Brahmana, he's fully renunciate. That is the form he's taking. So his paraphernalia is also connected to that situation. And Mother Earth comes and gives him that deer skin that we are seeing in the picture. And then the moon god comes and gives him the danda, and he's holding that danda in his left hand. And then his mother Aditi, who we see on the right, and on his right, and his left is Kashyapa Muni, and Aditi is giving him the loin cloth. So just like kids, just born, he's growing up. So instead of diaper, this mother is giving him the loin cloth of a sannyasi already. and then the umbrella is given by the deity presiding all the heavenly kingdom. So we see in the back there's this demigod who's gifting him with the umbrella, and all of these they are the paraphernalia of a renunciate brahmachari. So Vamanadev is all ready. He's born and he's ready to do his mission, and he's all set. Just like Bali Maharaj, as soon as the Vishwajit Yagya is over and all the paraphernalia he got, he didn't want to enjoy anything. He's ready for his service. He went to Indraloka. Similarly, the Lord here is also born, and he's wasting no time to do his mission and his pastime. So let's go to the next slide. So this slide tells us how Vamanadev meets Bali Maharaj. And at this time, like we discussed before, Vamanadev, Bali Maharaj is actually doing that 100 Ashwamedha Yagyas, and they are Shukracharya and Vamana and Bali Maharaj are sitting by the fire. And then there are so many exalted brahmanas, the descendants of Bhrigu, everybody is present there. And because this is like the 100th yagya after 99 has passed, so they are all having a lot of effulgence and the spiritual power they are having. And then we see our Supreme Lord Vamanadev comes there with the paraphernalia we just saw. And then the Lord, because he's a Supreme Personality of Godhead, he has so much spiritual power that he sucked away all the effulgence from everybody else. And though he's a small little boy, a dwarf, a Vamana, everybody automatically stood up, because there are these exalted brahmanas in the assembly, and when they saw this effulgent person coming, they couldn't stop themselves. So the respect that the Lord gets is automatic, and everybody jumped up on their feet. And what we see is Bali Maharaj's wonderful devotion. What he does immediately is he sees him as a Brahmana boy who's coming, and he's a great servant of Brahmanas. So as soon as he saw Bali Maharaj, he came running and took him to an exalted position. And he said, with your coming, he doesn't know this person. He just thinks of him as a Brahmana boy, but he wants to give all respect to Vamanadev. And he actually washed the feet of Vamanadev and sprinkled the water on his head. So this brings us to our third lesson for today is, so gratitude you show, so for little mercy from the exalted persons will fetch you more. And we'll see how the kind of mercy Bali Maharaj gets because of his wonderful Vaishnava etiquette here to serve the great Brahmanas. So at this point, Vamanadev is seated wonderfully in the assembly, is given all respects. And then Bali Maharaj says, I know you have come here for something, so please ask me what you'd like. And at this point, Vamanadev, he is coming in the form of a Brahmin, but in the Bhagavatam, this whole episode starts when Parikshit Maharaj is asking Sukadev Goswami, why did the Lord come as a beggar? You know, he is the biggest king, but he came as a beggar in Vamana Avatar. Tell me more about this. So when the Lord comes as a beggar, he is the best beggar that anybody can see in this whole world. So when Bali Maharaj asked Vamanadev, what would you like, oh my Lord? Not Lord, he doesn't know he is the Supreme Lord. He's asking, oh Brahmana, how can I serve you? What can I give you? And Vamanadev, first he doesn't ask for it. So there's something we can learn as devotees is how to beg from the Supreme Lord. He's showing us how to beg. So he first glorifies Bali Maharaj so much. He says, "Oh, you are the descendant of the great Hiranyakashipu. He was such a great king. He was so powerful that the Supreme Lord had to come as Narasimha, uh, and it was very difficult to kill him. As the Supreme Personality of Godhead had to come, and then your grand uncle is Hiranyaksha, who even took the whole world under the ocean. So the Lord is praising all the activities of Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha, and saying how difficult it was for Varahadev. Actually, it was not difficult, and but the Lord is showing us how to beg. So he's first really glorifying these Asura descendants, and then of course he um, tells about Prahlad Maharaj, who is his grandfather, and actually Hiranyakashipu is his great grandfather. And then his father is Virochana, and Virochana was very, very nice to all Brahmanas. So just like Bali Maharaj, the values come from his father and his grandfather Prahlad Maharaj and Virochana. And Virochana, it said that he used to give a lot of donation to Brahmanas. So when Virochana, his father, was a king, he gave donation even to the Adityas. The Devas had actually come in the form of Brahmanas to get his charity, and Virochana had given them too. So Vamanadev brings up that and says, "Oh, what a wonderful lineage you have of serving Brahmanas." So now he has come as Brahmanas. He's making the case to make sure that Bali Maharaj accepts his proposal, and then when the time is all set and the right time, the Lord makes the proposition that you have to give me 3 steps of land, 3 paces of land. And then Bali Maharaj is so surprised. So he said, we saw you as a very effulgent person, but looks like you're not very intelligent, because you're still a small boy. You're not asking me the right thing. 3 steps of land is actually insignificant. Once you receive something from me, then you should never beg for the rest of your life. Ask me a whole planet. Ask me anything you want. And Vamanadev said, this is a very important lesson. And the verse is also very important from chapter 19, the 8th canto, what Lord replies to that, and it applies to everyone. And the Lord says, for a person who is uncontrolled in the senses, nothing can satisfy the person. So now I just want 3 steps of land, but if my senses are not controlled, even a planet won't be enough. So we know that lesson that Vilas Prabhuji always says, there is enough for every man's need, but there's not enough for even one man's greed. So the Lord brings up that point and says one should be very satisfied with what one have. And if you have desires and wanting more and more and more, even if you give me a planet, it won't be enough. And once Bali Maharaj hears this reasoning, he says, oh, yes, you're very right. There's no end. And it's actually, the Lord has started that surgery. Great Guru and the Lord, they know how to make teach a lesson to a person. So he has started that brain surgery, or the very removing any tinge of materialism in his devotee with this first step, by telling him that one should be satisfied. We know what Mahabali was doing by capturing all the universes and things. And Mahabali also had a tinge of arrogance, that he is a he's a great person who gives charity. So that's also something that the Lord is going to take care of right now. We're going to see that. And the Lord says, at this point, he says, all I want is this 3 paces. And Mahabali says, oh, definitely, I agree. Whatever you want, I will do. I'll give you. And at that point, we see that Shukracharya on the right, he's saying, stop, no more. I want to talk to you. And this is a spiritual master who is coming to his disciple and saying, why don't make this decision before you talk to me. And he takes Bali Maharaj to the side, and he gives Bali Maharaj so many reasons why he should go back on his word. He just gave his word that he will give the 3 paces of land. And then Shukracharya, he's a very exalted Brahmana, and he's a spiritual master. He has a lot of power in him, but he has some karma mishra in his bhakti, because he's motivated by the asuras being the biggest kings of the 3 worlds. Then he can be the controller, actually, because Bali Maharaj is fully surrendered to Shukracharya. Whatever Shukracharya says, Bali Maharaj does. So that is a situation we saw during even the Vishwajit Yagya. So he doesn't want to lose that position, and he knows the future, what's going to happen. He understands who Vamana Dev is. It's not a dwarf Brahmana, but the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. So he tells Shukracharya, this is Vishnu, you better not do this. And his purpose is to actually take away everything from you and give it to the Devas. He's not in your side. So you shouldn't fulfill your promise. And then if you do this, if you go ahead with this, you will have to go to hell, and you will lose everything. So you shouldn't be doing this. So he's giving so many reasons to Bali Maharaj now. And he also says, for your livelihood, you have to make sure that you have enough for the rest of your life. According to the Vedic instructions, we know the Vedic injunctions are all about dharma, artha, kama, moksha, spiritual activity is just one part, but you need to give the other parts also. So he gives so many reasons that he should dial back on what he just promised. And then this is what makes Mahabali or Bali Maharaj the great Mahajan. So, but Bali Maharaj tells Shukracharya, so I am the grandson of Prahlad and son of Virochan, and I cannot be a cheater. I've given a word, I cannot go back. I cannot be untruthful, because the Mother Earth doesn't like untruthful people. So he brings up all these counter reasons why he should not be doing that. And initially he's bringing up the material reasons, and then he say, he doesn't fear the poverty, distress, sadness, or anything, but cheating a Brahmana is worse than all of that. So he doesn't want to do that. And he says, any opulence that we have now is temporary. So what is the point of holding on to all this? So we see that big transformation, and he's really showing us why he is a Mahajan. So if we are in a big position, and if we are like Ambani, who is the richest man in India, and if within a second, if Ambani said, the Lord has come and you have to surrender everything, I don't think anybody would do that, can do that, unless you are a great devotee of the Lord. So we are seeing how Bali Maharaj is this wonderful devotee, and he's bringing up this amazing reasons. And then another reason he says is about Shibi Maharaj and Dadichi. We already read about Dadichi, how he he gave his whole body to take the bones so that the thunderbolt can be made for Indra. We know Shibi Maharaj was even willing to give up his body for the bird, who was actually Dharmaraj or Yamaraj, who came to test him. So he was bringing up all these wonderful reasons, and then he says, this body and everything goes away, then it is the only the reputation of the person stays. So if I go back on my word, the whole reputation of my family will go away. And poverty that one gets by charity is actually good, instead of poverty created by somebody going and playing the stock market and losing all their riches. He's saying, if I give in charity and become poor, that is better, the best reason to become poor. And then the main reason finally is the Lord should be worshipped in all circumstances. And this is where we know that Bali Maharaj is a very fixed devotee. So the very reason, very purpose of our life is to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And when the Lord himself has come and he's giving an instruction, if we don't do that, then what is the purpose of our whole life? Our whole life should be the worship and doing activities that would please the Lord. And he sees this as a great fortune that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he now understands this through his spiritual master, that it is actually the Supreme Lord who has come. And if that's the case, then there is no question. Whatever he asks, there's nothing mine. I have to give everything to the Supreme Lord. So this instance is also quoted like in the disciple course also. So in every case, we have to follow the spiritual master. But there are certain cases, very rare cases, when there's a guru fall down. These are cases when they can read this pastime to understand when they should not follow the instructions of their spiritual master. If the guru is not wanting to surrender to the Lord, that means there is something wrong. So anybody who's having the wrong guru, this is one of the pastimes they can read to understand if it's a good reason to not accept the guru's instructions. So Bali Maharaj decides not to follow the guru's instructions, and because of that, Sukracharya gets very mad and angry, and he says, you lose everything and you're going to hell. And he even cursed him. And then Bali Maharaj comes and takes the water and is ready to give charity to Vamana Dev, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And at this point, he's fully surrendered. This is what real surrender is. He has surrendered everything. He knows what's going to happen. And the Lord then shows what's going to happen. So as soon as he agrees and the water is poured, he starts expanding. The Lord becomes so big. He takes over with his first step all the earthly planets and all the subterranean planets. And with the second step, he takes over the heavenly planets. And this picture, it shows how the Lord's feet is piercing even Brahma Loka or Satya Loka. And Brahma thinks, what is this? Is it a sun coming up? It's actually the toe of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he starts worshipping that feet of the Lord that is piercing his planet. And then the Lord feet actually pierces all the different layers that we read in the sixth canto. And he pierces everything, and the causal ocean, the layers appears, and the causal ocean starts flowing through the hole he created. And that is Mother Ganges, actually. One slide for that, yes. So the causal ocean comes down as as Mother Ganges into this world. And Brahma is taking the charanamrit of that water that's touched the lotus feet of the Lord. And then we also know that Lord Shiva, who's another Mahajan, the great devotee of the Lord, wants to take that charanamrit on his head. That's why we see Ganges on the head of Lord Shiva. And so in different places we see that the Ganges has different sources, but one of the devotees was saying it's actually a mixture of everything, is what Prabhupada said. It's actually coming from the ocean, Garbho, the causal ocean that the Lord pierced, and the Ganges is actually liquid form of the Lord, and then Ganges is actually the charanamrit from that Brahma also has provided to the Lord. So this is very auspicious to touch and take blessings from Mother Ganges. So this is the pastime that that the Lord enacts, and this form of the Lord is called Trivikrama. So this is like he came as a dwarf, but he became the tallest and the biggest person. So he expanded over everything. So with two paces or two steps, he has covered everything, the whole material universe. Who Bali Maharaj thought that he is the king of, and this is why the Lord is called Uru Krama. Krama means step, and Uru is the glorious step, or so inconceivable step of the Lord. So that's why Uru Krama and Trivikrama, because he asked for the 3 steps. These are the names of the Lord. And then the story continues. So at this point, the Lord covered everything, and he has totally removed any tinge of pride in or arrogance in Bali Maharaj at this point. And he takes back his small dwarf form, and he comes. And at this time, Bali Maharaj is fully surrendered, but our Lord, he wants to test even more. And actually the testing is to glorify Bali Maharaj. So he even asks Garuda to come and arrest Bali Maharaj. So using the ropes of Varuna, he is all tied up. So just imagine, he was the king of the world. He had taken over the entire world. In the next second, he's being tied up, and he's a servant. And he's being looked as a prisoner. So what would, like at least myself in this position, I'd be like, oh Lord, why are you doing this to me? And this is why we have to follow the great Mahajan Bali Maharaj. He is going through so much tormenting, so much testing. He is being humiliated completely. And the Lord actually cheated him by coming as a dwarf and becoming this form. But he is fully surrendered to the Lord. He's willing to take anything the Lord is giving to him, and that's what makes him the greatest Mahajan, one of the 12 Mahajans. Sorry, and he's being tied up, and at this time, Prahlad Maharaj comes. So just before that, the Lord arrests Bali Maharaj, and he asks why. So where can I put my 3rd step? You gave me 3 steps, and where can I put the 3rd step? And then Bali Maharaj says, I have nothing else to offer but my head. And at this time, when he says this, Prahlad Maharaj comes and he glorifies Vamana Dev, that you have purified my son, my grandson, so well that he has surrendered everything, and he has surrendered himself to you. So, and then even at this point, when he is fully surrendered, he has given everything to the Lord. He's still tied up, and then his wife, Vindhyavali, who is Mahabali's, Bali Maharaj's wife, she comes and says, oh, she sides with Vamana Dev at this point. She says, how there is nothing that anybody have. Everything is yours, Supreme Lord. So I don't know how my husband had decided to give something to you, because everything is yours. So he also sharp words. So we see how tolerant Bali Maharaj is in a very provoking situation, and he is fully surrendered. He's not taking any offense of anything, even though he's totally crushed at this point. And so at this point, his grandfather also comes and praises the Lord for totally purifying him. And then the Lord puts his feet on top of Bali Maharaj's head, and um, at this point, the Lord is so totally satisfied, and actually Brahma comes at this point, and he's the only one who sides with Bali Maharaj. He says, "Oh Lord, you should show some mercy on Bali at this point. He is fully surrendered, and he is such a great devotee." And the Lord said, "Yes, he is. He is. I just wanted to glorify him, to show how he is conducting himself in such a trying circumstance." And that's the lesson 6 for today. That Prabhupada always says, the greatness of a person is measured by his ability to tolerate provoking circumstance. And we see how Bali Maharaj is exemplifying that situation, and he's totally surrendered to the Lord. And now the benedictions start flowing because of him becoming the one of the Mahajans. And he actually, the Acharya says that Bali Maharaj is a Kripa Siddha, not a Sadhana Siddha. He, by the mercy of the Lord, he has become a great Siddha. Sadhana Siddhas are the ones who actually are practicing and becoming great Siddha. So he's a Sadhana, he's a Kripa Siddha, and the benedictions start flowing. That the Lord says, you will you should be going to the Sutala Loka. And actually the Lord made Sutala Loka even more opulent than the Indra Loka. You would be the ruler there for this Manvantra. And the next Manvantra, you are going to become Indra. So even though since he had this desire, we already saw that in Dhruva Maharaj's pastime, material opulence is there, and the Lord still wants to give that, satisfy whatever desires the devotee had. So you will actually become the next Indra in the next Manvantra, in the 7th one. In the next Manvantra. So that'll be the 8th Manvantra, and we are now in the 7th Manvantra. That so Indra will get all his planets and the Indralok back at this point. But the Lord says, because you're such a great devotee of mine, I cannot leave your presence. So I am going to come to Sutala Loka and protect you as a doorkeeper. And at this point, nobody else is going to come and disturb you. We know there's a lot of fight between Devas and Asuras, and you can take everybody, including all the Asuras, with you to the Sutala planet, and you can live happily because you are a great devotee of mine, and I'm going to protect you. So the Lord goes there because he's so, when a devotee surrenders to the Lord is totally purchased, and he wants to serve the devotee. So he's taking that very low position. We also know from Bhagavad Gita how the Lord takes a position of just a driver for his devotee, and he's taking a position of a doorkeeper of Bali Maharaj. Okay. So that's actually concludes the session for today, and these are the 6 lessons we learned today. With your permission, I'd like to stop here. If there are any questions, we can discuss that. I may not have the knowledge to answer your question, but senior Vaishnavas will have. Thank you.
Thank you, Vamsi Vilas Prabhu, for sharing such wonderful pastime with such nice pictures, which are so good for meditation on this special day. And and how with every pastime you shared so many wonderful lessons also for sadhakas like all of us. So thank you so much for sharing this with all of us. So let's see if anyone has questions at this point. Any questions, comments? Yes. Ekant Prabhu. And then Sudhir Prabhu can go next.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Vilas, Prabhu, thank you very much. It was so. This is like from people like me who doesn't even know the incarnation about. You explained it very well, and the last summary I liked it. The last 6 lessons that you spoke about is exactly what as summary I was looking for, and you presented it very well. And you said like one of the saying that you said like, but I didn't really remember. I was not able to remember it. But you said like, Earth has like we all have everything what we need, but for one man, create planet will not be enough sufficient. That's really what we are right now. At least from what I am right now. Hopefully, with Krishna's mercy, Lord's mercy, we will be in right path. Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Very nice realization you have. I'm just repeating what I heard. So thank you for getting the main point from this.
Thank you. Yes, Sudhir Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Vamsi Vilas, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Very wonderful realizations, Prabhuji. You not only, I mean, even a small kid can understand the flow, and people like me also can understand. And not only that, you also covered the main points in each way. What are the, not only you covered the story, but the main points that as a devotee, as a, learning Vaishnava like me, can, you know, uh, can relate and can learn. And how you narrated nicely, even though Bali Maharaj, as a um, Asura, but he became a great devotee, and how he became so humble, and you wonderfully narrated that one. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, so one thing you also mentioned about like how, when like seen gurus, right? You said, in certain times like this, we should not follow, but we would not have that much uh, at least I don't have that much knowledge to know when to accept guru or when not to accept. So maybe if you can,
Yes. It is a very highly high topic that I'm not qualified to talk, but what I can say is Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra should always be in alignment. So whenever a person that we accepted as a guru is telling you not to surrender to the Lord, and we read that from the scriptures and our devotee association that that's not true, then we have to consult with the other 2 authorities, that is Sadhu and scriptures, and see if they are not aligned, and then make a decision. Thank you, Prabhuji.
thank you so much,
Prabhuji or Nandini Mataji or anybody else can please. That's a very good question, and it comes only when there is a guru fall down. And based on our current situation, we have so many exalted gurus, so we shouldn't even think that this is the case. So we shouldn't take this in the wrong way, but this situation is mentioned even in the disciple course, because over the past 50 years of Ikon movement, there has been some fall downs because Srila Prabhupada was taking up empowering everybody, because in a war you empower everybody to become great sadhakas, but because this is a hospital, some of them and the power of Maya is captures them a little bit. So out of 100, maybe 10 may fall down. So if we are unfortunately following that 10 people, there is a, in the Shastras, there is a way that we can not follow that person. And this is an example of that. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Yes, I think, neophyte devotees like me, we also hear that if Guru asks you to jump, you just need to jump. So I mean, of course, senior devotees will easily, differentiate. But I think neophytes like, me, it might be little difficult. But you explained very well. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, I would like to just add something small. Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
please, Prabhu.
Dandavats, everybody. Thank you very much. Very nice class, Vamsi Vilas, Prabhu. Really appreciate. It's not just our spiritual master who is a guru. A lot of times we also have some other devotees who pass through our life. Even a person we ask for advice at work, for that particular time being is almost like he's giving us advice like a guru. So also when we talk to somebody about making money, make sure that that person is not too greedy. Otherwise, please reject him. When we are in the temple room and somebody is complaining, maybe it's a very valid complaint. Maybe somebody's hot and there are no fans working for a month, but whatever. But if there is a ninda happening of another devotee, please put your radar on and don't make them your guru, because we hear somebody being blasphemed. It really brings down our devotional service. So stay away from those bogus gurus that probably come in our life at one point or another. Thank you, Prabhu. Dandavats.
Thank you so much. I think Ashutosh Srivatsa. Prabhu, I think I see you joining first time. Can you please reveal your identity?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam, Dhatak Pranam to all Vaishnavas.
Krishna.
Prabhu, I based in Oman. I got a link through Priya Mataji and Sunil Mala Prabhu. So I just interested to join this, and it's very nice nectar from Prabhuji. I'm really blessed to hear this. Even I think I don't know here anybody, but as a devotee, it's like really nice lecture, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Prabhu, for joining. We are blessed to have your association. Okay, let's see, Vipul Prabhu has a question.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, you kept me totally absorbed in the pastime of Vamana Dev from beginning to start to end. Sorry. So, Prabhuji, my question is, Lord, every action has some significance. So, Lord Vamana Dev take the shape of Vamana only to disguise himself from Bali Maharaj at the time of Jagga to get the things done. That is the only significance.
Yeah, that is all I can understand from Bhagavatam and the lectures I heard, because once you're a very short person, that 3 steps are even smaller, right? So, and the Lord wanted to teach Bali Maharaj a lesson also, that you shouldn't take anything for granted. This all belongs to the Lord. So, that's what my understanding is, Prabhuji. If anybody else can answer your question, if there is any other intention of being a dwarf.
Yes, these are called Leela in Avatar. They come, do their Leela, and boom, boom, boom. Like Narsingadev. There is no Narsingadev playing his childhood like Lord Ram or Lord Krishna stealing butter. Or these are Leela incarnation. They come for their specific Leela, for the specific purpose, and then next.
Good. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Anyone else has any more questions, comments? One thing which I was just reflecting on this Leela, like, look at the situation of Kashyap Muni. In Canto 6, Diti vows to kill Indra and does a Pumsavana Vrata. And then Kashyap Muni has to guide her, basically a process of Bhakti Yoga, Pumsavana Vrata. And in Canto 8, Aditi is vying to kill the demons inside Indra. And then Kashyap Muni gives up Payovrata. Payo also means milk. And then Vaman Dev is born. So for those who feel, oh, I'm in a difficult situation, then look at Kashyap Muni. But how he handled both the sides with such a spiritual maturity, and the outcome was all spiritual. So I was just reflecting on those two incidences, and yeah. So anyone else has any other comments, questions? Shri Kumar Prabhu has hand raised. Yes, Prabhu, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So thank you so much for a very nice elaboration for the pastime leading up to, the incarnation of Vamana Dev. So I just had a comment here. I think there is one Vaman Dev temple. I'm not sure where it is, but I heard there is. So if anyone knows where it is, can please share, that'd be great.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji. We can see that. I don't know if we have Vamana Dev as a deity in an ISKCON temple, but definitely there may be temples dedicated to. We know there is the Kurma avatar, sometimes the question is asked why we don't worship Malsya, Kurma, Varaha, Narasimha. Or Narasimha we have, but not the other important avatars. And in ISKCON, we want to like the pure devotion. We only have Narasimha Dev. So there are others in India, of course, and I can quickly look up and send you, Prabhuji. I don't know.
Okay, Prabhuji. Just if you know of the okay, thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Yeah, but it's very interesting that Kerala, that's where I'm coming from. There is so much of emphasis on Vamana Dev because this whole festival is for Bali Maharaj coming back and visiting. So definitely there may be a temple there. So I'll let you know.
Okay, thank you.
It's in Madhya Pradesh, Prabhu.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. So I think we will stop here. So Silas Prabhu, you can send maybe a PDF of your slides so everyone can benefit from your slides as well.
Yes.
So thank you so much, Prabhu, for all your sincere acts of devotion and giving us chance to hear about this wonderful pastime of Lord Vaman Dev and on this auspicious day. So today is also the appearance day of Srila Jiva Goswami, who is a great acharya in our Gaudiya Vaishnava parampara. Now we will, just kidding, we won't be discussing about him today. But yeah, if you like, if you feel inspired, you can always read about Srila Jiva Goswami. There are many articles on his ISKCON Desire Tree. He is one of the 6 Goswamis and has done enormous contribution to our Gaudiya Vaishnava parampara. So especially through his writings. It is said that in Banaras Hindu University, there's a separate department of the works of Jiva Goswami, the whole department of what he wrote. Enormous. You cannot even fathom. So we will stop here and pray to Sri Vaman Dev, pray to Srila Jiva Goswami on this auspicious day. So we can also learn from the example of Bali Maharaj, who is the Acharya of Atmanivedanam. He gave us everything, Sarvasva. So we can also pray to, you cannot imitate, but at least try to follow in footsteps in some limited capacity as our baby step. So thank you so much to everyone. Shri Vamana Dwadashi Mahamotsav ki Jai. Shri Vamana Dwadashi Mahamotsav ki Jai. Shri Vamana Dwadashi Mahamotsav ki Jai. Grantaraj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki Jai. Shri Jiva Goswami की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, समवेत गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। Thank you so much. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare